if you don't have your binder out, please get it out because this is a big one. It's a PO, your second PO, second of 3 that'll be on your first test. And this one is a review of PO60 from last year, solving those two-step equations. Okay? Off that, right? And if you remember, my recommendation for how to solve two-step equations by using opposite operations, despite all the times we talked about that last year, some of you still insist on the guess and check, which the guess and check doesn't have its time, doesn't have its place, yes. But now that we're into algebra, you'll be getting answers that are fractions, you'll be getting answers that are decimals, you'll be getting answers that are negative fractions, decimals, things that if you try and guess and check, might take you a long time to come up with, okay? And eventually you will take timed tests. The ACT pops in ahead if they're still using it by the time you get technology of 60 minutes to answer 60 questions, right? You're not supposed to finish, but part of what they're looking for is who can answer questions not only correctly, but also efficiently, okay? Guess and check is not very efficient. It just depends how lucky you are and how well you can kind of narrow down your answers. So, when talking about opposite operations, what are we referring to? How would you use opposite operations to solve negative 8n plus 11 equals negative 21? The point, remember, of opposite operations being to undo the equation. And that's why PERMDAS, I said it before, everything comes back to PERMDAS, right? That's why PERMDAS has this attribute where it's separated by operations, by which operations are opposite. There's a purpose to that, okay? How would we undo this equation, negative 8n plus 11 equals negative 21? Nolan?
So, like, how many passes could you use in it? 7.
As many as you need, but you've already gone to the bathroom,
2,
you've
so
got the
5
water.
left.
5 left, yeah.
Oh, can I get some more water?
No.
Oh,
No, it's not 7 a day, Nolan. It's 7 a try. Like, you can use up to 7.
I know that.
Like, if you burn through them all in a day, that's your choice.
Well, that was my plan. Just like,
Oh, well, here, I'll let you go out in the hall if you can tell me how we would start using opposite operations for that.
Okay. So, how you would start using opposite operations?
It's always good to repeat the question. Very, very good.
Okay, so. Actually, I take that back. I need to learn this. I'm sorry.
Okay, very well. Landon!
I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, our goal here is to get n by itself, right? Right now, we know that if we plug in some number for n, multiply by negative 8, and then add 11, we'll get negative 21 as an answer. What number is that? Right? And so we're going to start by subtracting 11 from both sides. What does that do for us on the left side? Why is this a productive step? How does this help narrow down what n is? Yeah. Right. What's positive 11 minus 11? 0. Okay. We've taken 11 away from the left side, meaning there's only those negative 8 n's left. Right? And why do we have to do that to the right side also? What about an equation? What do we know about an equation that would justify why what we do to one side, we have to do the other side as well? Do you remember the analogy that I made last year? An equation is like, Josie, put your feet on the floor. An equation is like, I drew a picture. It's like a scale, like a balanced scale. Okay? I'll do it again. Jot this in your notes here. An equation is like a balanced scale with the equal sign in the middle. Okay? If we know that those two sides are equal, if I take 11 away from one side and not the other, what's going to happen to my scale? Okay? Now one side will be heavier than the other. So I have to subtract 11 from negative 21 as well. And what is negative 21 minus 11? Yeah, negative 32. If you have negative 10 written down on your page, you went the wrong direction. Okay? Adding and subtracting integers is going to become a big part of this now because we're using it, right? That's why I was a PO back in pre-algebra. Okay? But negative 21 minus 11 is negative 32. Now what? What this tells us here is that whatever n is, negative 8 of them equal negative 32. You're this close to being separated today. This close. Right now, this says that negative 8 n's equals negative 32. I don't want to know what negative 8 n's equals. I want to know what 1 n equals. So what do I do now to rewrite this equation or to manipulate it so I know what 1 n is? Zoe. Divide by negative 8. Why divide? Because what operation is happening right now between negative 8 and n? Multiplying. Right?
So use the opposite operation.
Opposite operation. I should coin that. I should always encourage that. Opposite operations, right? Divided by negative 8. Because negative 8 divided by negative 8 doesn't equal 0. What does anything divided by itself equal, Josie?
1.
1. Okay? I now know what 1 n is. Right? I don't have to write the 1 because if n's by itself is understood, there's just one of them there. But 1n equals positive 4. Where's the positive 4 come from? That's negative 32 divided by negative 8. Okay? And the best part about equations is how can you check to make sure you're right? How can you like cheat on your test by checking your answer? And I encourage it. Mia, you use a calculator and plugging it back in, right? Here's where you not guess and check. Here's where you plug it back in to see if it works. Is negative 8 times 4, negative 32, plus 11 equal to negative 21? Yes, it is. Okay? So this opposite operations method will work every single time, regardless of what equation you have, regardless how long the equation is. Okay? You undo it, get n by itself, it's going to work out for you. Right? Okay. The next one. Do it on your own. Take 30 seconds. 3n plus 17 equals 77. Use opposite operations. Think about the operations being done and how to undo them. While you're doing this, a reminder, I am after school today and Thursday. Did I ever say this?
Yeah.
I think I said this.
Yes.
Khan Academy is due on Thursday. Math packet's not due for a while. But who wants to share what they got as an answer? Value for n. Nolan?
Oh, my answer, I got
20
20.
is correct. Okay, if you got 20, excellent job. If you didn't, here are the steps that you should have taken. Start by subtracting 17. Why subtraction this time? Same thing as last time. We're adding plus 17. 17 minus 17 equals 0. Okay? If you accidentally added 17 to both sides here, you know, in the first one I said, why was subtracting 11 a productive step? Adding 17 to both sides wouldn't be productive here. Because what's 17 plus 17? 34. You haven't really accomplished anything, right? Except made the numbers bigger. Okay? That's not what we want. We want to cancel out these terms to get n by itself. 17 minus 17 equals 0. That's a productive step. And then 77 minus 17 is 60. Now we're dividing both sides by 3. I don't care that 3 n's equals 60. I want to know what 1 n equals. If 3 n's are 60, 1 n is 20. Melby. Yes. Next one. N divided by 5 minus 6.5 equals negative 4.5. And here's where guess and check might start to become not very efficient. We've got a fraction involved, kind of. We've got negatives. We've got decimals. Just numbers that are just more difficult to work with. So don't worry about that. Focus on the operations. This says n divided by 5 minus 6.5. Peyton, what's the opposite of subtracting 6.5? Adding 6.5. So that's what we're going to do first. Doesn't matter if it's a decimal, right? Just do the opposite. negative 6.5 plus 6.5 equals 0. Now, negative 4.5 plus 6.5 might be a little more difficult than the others, but you can do this. What is negative 4.5 plus 6.5? Or flip it around, put your positive 6.5 first and subtract 4.5. It might be easier. What do we get? 2. Okay. What do we do next here? William,
Switches to multiplication.
what do you guys switch?
Like the n, from like the n over 5 for the fraction, make it the multiplication.
And why would we do that?
Because that's dividing it.
And the opposite of division is
Multiplication.
multiplication. Yeah. Recognize, I'm glad you brought that up, William. You know, this division, this fraction bar means division, right? We've talked about that before. So if we're dividing n by 5, to undo that, we're going to need to multiply n by 5. Now, sometimes writing it as a fraction like this can be a little bit confusing. So if you want to write it horizontally, using the actual division symbol, then you can. That still says n divided by 5. And the opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. Those operations will still cancel out. N is by itself. And n equals 10. Okay? If you plug it back in, 10 divided by 5 equals 2. 2 minus 6.5 equals negative 4.5. Right? The next one. Try this one on your own here, just like we did with the second one. Again, it's a division, it's a subtraction. It's really very similar to what we just did here. Let's see what you can come up with. While you're working, I'll remind you, I'm here after school today. You already know. Bless you. Who is bold and brave enough to share what they got as an answer? They've hopefully checked. But who? Ryan?
N equals 66.
N equals 66. If you got 66, you're absolutely right. Bless you. And here's how you find it. You start by adding 4. Why adding 4? Because we're subtracting 4. And adding 4 is the opposite. Because negative 4 plus 4 equals 0. We're then left with n divided by negative 6 equals negative 11. Check, make sure you don't have 19 there, right? Negative 15 plus 4, negative 11. You can also think about this as n divided by negative 6. So we're going to multiply by negative 6, because that's what we're dividing by. So we're going to multiply by that same thing, by negative 6. And 11 times negative 6 equals negative 66. That's because I wrote positive 11. But see, this is the value of checking. I forgot to write that negative sign in front of my 11 there. So when I got negative 66 as an answer, I immediately went back to the top and I said, wait a minute. Negative 66 divided by negative 6 equals positive 11. And positive 11 minus 4 does not get me to negative 15. Okay, so I caught myself. I went back. I checked. That should have been a negative 11, not a positive, and that gives us positive 66, as Ryan said, instead of negative. Whoopsie-doos happen. That's how we check our answers. Okay? Questions on this? Is this ringing a bell? A little bit here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Can I go get water?
I'll cost you a pass.
I'll just do it after. I'll just do it.
All right. Adrian, you have a question? What's that? Change your mind? Okay. Let's skip the next part. We'll talk about this tomorrow. And for homework for tomorrow, while it's fresh in your minds, I'd like you to do this section here.
Just like,
Okay?
just the pencil.
Just these 8. Just this section here.
It's yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to assign homework every day.
I don't, and I didn't last week. That's why I had to wait. I did last week. I don't every night.
You don't have to. Like, no
I mean, if I didn't, it'll just make your homework assignment larger for the next night, for tomorrow night, and so it kind of break it up a little bit. Plus, instead of a bell ringer tomorrow, which you have to get 5 out of 5 on, you only have to get a 4 out of 5 on this. So that benefits you too. Okay. Plus, you got like 3 minutes to work now. Okay. All right. Homework tomorrow. Get it done. That's how you man.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.